the new music. Yes, what you heard was that kind of music. We call it as the physics. And today you are going to see the details about how the music developed and what it has to do with literature. So here I am. So what that was played, the new music. We sometimes the new music today we call it as the fusion. So it actually is we fuse. Fuse means what is meant by fuse? You join them together too. Sometimes it is Indian classical, and it is mixed with Western instruments. So here, what you saw was music played by one YouTuber, and here it is. That's it. Yeah, Rahman's Reja movie played by Veena Siriwani. The instrument which you see here is called as the Veena. And in the first part of the beginning, you saw something which was purely with the Veena instrument, and then came the drum, and then came other instruments which the English people have classified. Now here is what this classification is all about. The new music was built out of materials already in existence. So here they have classified it as blues. So there is one album called as Blue by A.R. Rahman. You can look into that. And rock and roll and folk. But the classification of entire music is also different. But these forms remind something wholly new and original was made out of these old elements. And then came up the transformation from 1966 to 1977. Up to that time, there was only blue and rock and roll, and then there were some derivatives. Derivatives na அதிலிருந்து வரக்கூடியது. So it included the composition from some of the college students, and three forms. This rock and roll, blues, and folk music remained the same, but within that you had several classifications and several branches, and this is how you have to read. These three forms remain musically and culturally distinct. Means does that's point this particular point is of no importance, but it carries some significance. So I am just underlining those things which are very important there. So blues expressed black soul. So blues was there when African prisoners were transported to USA. They carried the music, and rock was made famous by one artist called as Elvis Presley, and the beat of the youthful sensuality, and folk music with a singer such as Joan Baez. So this is completely about Western. It doesn't talk about the Indian. In Indian classical music, we have two basic things, and I love them very much. That is the North Indian. No, it's North Indian. We have the something called as the Hindustani music, and it consists of so many instruments such as sitar, sarangi, veena, not veena, violin, etc. And then in the South music, we have got this classical called as the Carnatic music. So my day usually I would appreciate if the day starts with classical music. So North Indian is Hindustani and South Indian is Carnatic, and we have this particular instrument which we call as the veena. But he's not. This chapter is talking only about the English classical music. So let us look only into that point of view. Our views will be different. So what does it talk in the United States? It's originated youthful rock groups playing in San Francisco. And in England, it was led by the Beatles and were already established an extremely fine and highly individual rock group. These people, they beat the drums and the frequency is so fast for the music that, it just stirs up the soul. But it doesn't stir up the inner things that is needed. And that for that uh, you can find in the Indian classical music only. For example, the sitar played by Pandit, the sitar played by Ravi Shankar, and uh, that Shiv Kumar Sharma's music with the strings, is something very soul searching. So what happened as well? It can be put into words. But first, the separate musical traditions were brought together. Bob Dylan and Jefferson Airplane played the folk ideas and rock beat, while white rock groups began experimenting with the blues. So blues means it was from the Africa and was essentially by the black people. Of course, white musicians had always played the blues, but essentially it's as imitators na copy, imitators of the Negro style. A Negro is the race that is belonging to the Africa. Now it began to be the white band's own music, and all of the group moved towards a broader electrism and synthesis. They freely took over the elements of Indian ragas. So we have got two things in Indian classical music. So luckily he is mentioning about the raga. So for example, raga Yaman is it's very beautiful raga Sindhu Bhairavi raga, Miyaki Malhar, and those several ragas are there. And there are two things for the Indian classical things. One is raga and the other is the tala. That is what the talam, like we call it as the Indian classical music, Sarvam Talamayam. So we should have the talam pot aparagita part, right? So that is the basics of all the things, but the classification of Western thing is a different thing, and we are not looking into that. So here from American country music, as the time went on from more diverse courses, one group seems recently to have been trying out Gregorian chants. Gregorian is a different civilization. Previous to the Gregorian calendar was there, and it was different from it had some other number of days per month, and probably it was different from the present calendar. What developed as a protein music capable fan almost limitless range of expression. What is meant by this protein music? Protein means it's able to change the frequency very easily. That is called as the protein music. Change frequency. So you must know that we have this frequency for a sound, for a music. We have got a frequency and pitch and then decibels. The decibels you can classify in how loud it is and how loud and how much amount of noise. And rather than loud, I can just say that it is. For example, if you stand on the platform of a railway station, when the train crosses, the sound that comes, the disturbing sound is about 80 decibels. We have a particular unit for it called as 80 decibels. And the child inside a womb inside a mother, it is able to hear about 60 decibels. Now the pitch is how high you make it and how low you make it. And say for example in the S.P. Balasubramanian song, which breathless song, was a genuine singer. What was his song that? Keladi Kanmani song was there. Kannil in the I don't know how to sing, but it was a song in which he sings breathless. Okay, so in that he raises the pitch and lowers the pitch. The beauty which singers is that they can raise the voice at the same time they have to lower the voice, and that is called as the pitch. And the frequency is it is a voice. Different persons will have different frequency, and human beings can hear a frequency of 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Okay, so above that and below that we are not able to hear. That means the sound waves are existing, but we don't have the instrument to hear them. Our ear is capable of only hearing from 20 hertz to that. So you can see some of these speakers will be having capable of having listening to 16 hertz. And if you just make a search, about that, you can see human audible hertz. So you can just human audible range hertz. In hertz, it gives, it throws out a lot of things like actually it is actually 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And above that you will have a lot of sound that is very damaging to the eardrum also. So these three things are there, so that which that changes the frequency. Quite similarly, Shankar Mahadevan has sung that song that called as a breathless. Okay, breathless. And here in that he raises the pitch and lowers them, and then even sometimes you can see there is no decibel change, it is uniform. It just changes the frequency also. So that was one of the thing that we said. Okay, now this coming to the third part of the paragraph. The second thing being happened was that musical groups began using full range of electrical instruments as a technology of electronic amplifiers. So amplification is something increasing the sound frequency. So the twangy electric guitar, twangy means it has it's a name given to that particular type of twang that stirs up. Electric guitar was an old country western standby, but the new electronic effects were together different. So different that a new listener in 1967 might well feel that there have never been any sounds like that before. A high piercing unearthly sound. Unearthly பூமிக்குள்ளே இல்லாத மாதிரி இருக்கும் சில சவுண்ட்ஸ். That was made by some electronics. Sounds of the guitar seem to come from other realms. Other realms means it has come from some reality, something which you don't believe but it is real. So it was derived from real. So real phenomena is always a realms. Electronicity in fact made possible sounds that no instrument of time could provide. So you can see that we have this particular thing called as the santoor. We can have a look at it. Santoor is an instrument played by Pandit Shivakumar Sharma, and it just changes the length of the strings to different to produce different wavelengths. So this will produce a different sound, this will produce a different sound. Quite similarly, we have that thing called as the vessels. The size of the vessels keeps on increasing, and either you increase the size of the vessel or you keep the same vessel and fill it with some water there, and you call as the jal tarang in Hindi. So different emptiness is making different sounds. Some of the sounds you'll be finding that they are quite closer but they belong to different frequencies. Okay, so something which you take up new, in the Arabian you have got some instrument called as a new oud. So this you can see that they have just enlarged that, and it seems to belong to some reality. So electronics is in fact a magical sound that no instrument of the time could produce. And in studio recordings, multiple tracking, feedbacks and other devices made possible effects. Feedback and other devices make possible effects. The feedback na thiripu kudukuradhu. So it is from the people that you just get the feedback. Not even electronic band could produce live. Electronic amplification also made possible a fantastic increase in volume. The music becomes a loud and pelting as the human ear could stand, and thereby achieving a total effect. So that instead of an audience of passive na, what is meant by passive? Passive listeners means just they are not active at all. Active means somebody who is very active, who knows about uh, the music. And then suppose you can see the smokers are there. Somebody who smokes actively is called as actively, but those who inhale are called as the passive. These people are not active. So passive users, they just don't have a choice whenever they for example, if you go in buses, the loud music is placed, so we all become passive listeners. Only the driver and the conductor, they are the active listeners. Or some people who really enjoy, they become the active listeners. There are no audience of total participants feeling the music in all the senses of their bones. Of their bones na elumbu kadiyadu, but it does mean that அவ்வளோ உள்ளே போகுது மியூசிக்கு, அவ்வளோ வந்து ஆழமாக கேட்குது அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். ஓகே, இட் டசன்ட் மீன் தட் இட் இஸ் டைரக்ட் ட்ரான்ஸ்லேஷன் ஷுட் நாட் பி டன். எலும்புகள்லாம் கேட்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. You just say that it is just that it goes up to the through the muscles, through your, so you got the inherent thing for that particular thing. Third music, now this is talking about the third generation. Third music becomes the multimedia experience and part of total environment. In the Bay Area ballrooms, the Fillmore, the Avalon, the Pauley ballroom at the University of California, the walls were covered with fantastic changing patterns of light. நாங்கள்லாம் அதுக்கு டிஸ்கோன்னு சொல்கிறோம். Right in the beginning, at that time it was the fashion, beginning of the new art license, and the audience did not sit, it danced. வேறு என்னதான் பண்ண முடியும், தாளம் போட்டா. With regards at home, listeners imitated these lighting effects as best they could and heightened the whole experience by using the tracks. Often music was played out of the doors where the nature, the sea or the red walls provided the environment. So you got this exercise about the music there, and you just can go over there and see what all is about music. I haven't gone there, but I would just sum up the popular music that is there, that was there, that needs a classification. Here it is. So I'll just insert the text there. You can see blues music, jazz music, rhythm and blues music, rock and roll, rock music, country music, soul music, dance music, hip hop music, and these people do not have any, just as and when they gave the name and it came. But you must start with the ABCD of the Indian music. If you know that what we call as the ABCD of music means, it should go to the Indian classical systems. So, okay, Indian classical. Okay, so in the Indian classical, you must read Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma. Okay, and Ravi Shankar. They know that, and Ustad Bismillah Khan. Ustad Bismillah Khan, and then Ustad Mohiuddin Dagar. He plays something which you heard on the record is a Rudra Veena. He plays the particular music, and Shiv Kumar plays the santur, which is famous in Kashmir. Ravi Shankar plays sitar, and Bismillah Khan the Shehnai. Shehnai is nothing but it is a type of flute, and there are a lot of classification of that music. Sarangi is there. Ustad Sultanuddin Khan. So he plays the sarangi. It's a very music which touches the which should I say, it touches the bones or even the heart, even the nerves of the heart. So your day should start. I mean, if you all you want to music, your day should start with some slow beats. It's the body is actually programmed in such a way that you got some state called as the beta state of the mind. So when you are agitated and become very furious, it goes to the alpha state. So in the alpha state of the mind, you lose energy, and you become very tired, and you appear very sick, something like that. So you sit down, meditate, listen to slow beats, and it brings you to the beta state. As soon as you bring to the beta states, you can go to this is the gamma state. You can come to the alpha state also. Alpha state is the slowest of all. It doesn't lose any energy, and there are some sites in the YouTube where you can see music for meditation is there. Music for meditation, and then music for study is there, and then music for sleep is there. Of course, you don't require music for sleep if you sit in class. Okay, so I'm just carrying this environment. So what you have to do here is from the exercise. This is the exercise that you have to do in this session, and I'm taking the narrative exercise in the next class. But here you have to write about the music. So whatever I have underlined here in the yellow and magenta blue and there is brick yellow color, These are the information you can just classify, take down the notes, and then see something about the music. So here I stop here. We'll see the next exercise, and you have to get an idea of what a music is. And along with that, you just find out what is the difference between Indian classical music and the Western classical music. You'll find that Indian music, without maximum drums and without frequent beats, is Indian classical music is very good. You can always begin with that. The tradition is continuing, and in the December you got this festival in Aradhana festival in Chennai, where you can see a number of Carnatic musicians reciting the violin, reciting the guitar, sitar, violin, and even the veena, rudra veena, all those things. They give some kind of very soulful atmosphere, and we should not lose our roots and culture and switch over to this pop, jazz, clan, and other English music. Okay, see you soon.